Hey guys, so what I'm going to do today is continue with a live audit of a family law firm in Philadelphia. So I want to look at who's ranking number one in Philadelphia and why, or what they have done to be able to achieve that number one ranking. And if you were to compete with them, what you would need to do to outrank them. And the main point here is that what I always try to do and what we try to do in our company is we want to look at what are the top rankers across the most competitive industries doing in terms of SEO, so that we could learn the best practices and so that we could see the patterns. What are the commonalities across the top rankers? What are they doing differently? What are the main things that you need to do to rank number one for your city or for your niche? We are especially interested in servicing family law firms, divorce lawyers. But yeah, because this is also one of the most competitive niches in the United States in terms of SEO, it's also quite interesting. Even if you are not a family law firm, maybe you are serving another law niche, or maybe you're in an entirely different niche. This can still be quite valuable for you. And this is going to be a live audit, so I'm just going to go over what I see here and I'm going to write down the numbers. So if you've seen some of my previous videos, you probably already know the setup. So I'm just looking who's ranking number one, what's the main keyword, how much this keyword is bringing in terms of traffic and potential revenue for the business. So how much they're making for ranking number one. And I'm going to review them across most important ranking factors for local SEO. And in the end, I'm going to get a score here. And this is just an aggregation of all the factors. And this will help me to figure out what are the commonalities. I already see the pattern, but I only have right now 11 cities that I've publicly reviewed. I've done many more in private, but I just want to continue on with this because I think this is really valuable. Even if you don't want to rank in any of these cities here, it doesn't matter. If you see what works for the biggest cities, for the most competitive cities in the United States, you can just use the same best practices, apply it to your location, to your niche, and you can do pretty great, even if you don't do as much as these guys are doing. Because for these kinds of businesses, you see here, the potential for Philadelphia, for example, I'm estimating, for family law firm, based on research, the average customer lifetime value is 10K. This is the average customer lifetime value for a family law firm. When they get a divorce client, what's the customer lifetime value in revenue? And then I'm assessing how many searches there are for the specific keywords. Usually there are more, so I'm trying to keep these numbers as conservative as possible. This will give me a number about what's the SEO value or what's the value of ranking number one. So how much revenue this could bring you per month. It doesn't mean that you can service all of those clients. Maybe you don't have enough lawyers in your practice that would be able to service all of this volume. But still, it's still going to give you a pretty good understanding of how much it's worth to rank there. And in most cities, though, based on what we've seen, you don't need to put in this much work to rank number one. But also, if you are ranking number one, or even if you're ranking in the top 3, this is going to give you a consistent amount of leads, or a consistent amount of clients coming to you, asking for your services, looking for a quote, wanting to speak with you, and becoming interested in hiring you as their divorce attorney. And even if you don't have the capacity to fill for all of those people, it's still okay, because then you can just simply pick the higher ticket jobs. Maybe you can see that somebody is a high net worth individual, maybe they're a CEO, maybe they own a company, and if it's worth more for you to have that customer, then it's probably makes a lot of sense to just choose the higher ticket clients. But being able to even choose is huge, because most businesses, most law firms that we've talked with, they mainly still rely on referrals. And you can't really rely on referrals, especially if you are building out a team or if you have a team. You need to keep them busy. You need to, you're paying your salaries for your team members. So you really need them to be busy. You want them to be building clients. You want active hourly work for your team members so that the company would earn more money and your team members would also earn more money. Yeah. There's a lot of value even in Philadelphia. So let's get straight to it in regards to Philadelphia. The first thing I typed in, actually, it wasn't divorce lawyer Philadelphia. It was, because you never know, what is the way that people type or search for your specific services in your area, because people use different keywords. And it's really important to know the most used search term. So for Philadelphia, what I usually start with is family lawyer Philadelphia. And from here, what I can see is that this has around 200 monthly search volume. So I'm not really sure that this is the best keyword. So what I usually then do is I could go to Ahrefs, which is, I would say, the best possible SEO tool for the job. And I can see here that this has 150 searches a month, 200 in aggregate per month, and it's quite hard. But what I'm looking for is, I don't just want to look at this keyword, because I want to find the keyword that has the most search volume. So the trick to do it, or the strategy to do it, is, of course, you need Ahrefs or a similar keyword tool. SEMrush might also work. Is you would need to go and look at the top rankers keyword. What are some other keywords that the top rankers are ranking for? And do these keywords or search phrases have more search volume than 150 or 200. So I see here divorce lawyer Philadelphia, this is the exact same thing. People are looking for the exact same thing. This is 800, so this is a much better keyword. So I'm going to go with that. But there's also the option to go for also rank 4 and go through all the keywords from here as well, just to be double sure, because this is what I always recommend you to do, so that you would be optimizing or you would be looking at the most important keyword and then building down from there. So always start from the keyword with the most search volume. This is what we do for our clients as well. And here I also want to look at the searches where they have Philadelphia in it. And right now I'm sorting all of the search phrases based on how much search volume, how much monthly search volume there is. And I'm looking for the first instance of Philadelphia because I want to have the name included in the keyword. And the first one here is divorce lawyer Philadelphia, which is the keyword we found. So yeah, this is the keyword, divorce lawyer Philadelphia. So that's the keyword I'm going to search for, divorce lawyer Philadelphia. Instead of family lawyer Philadelphia, I'm going to try and research this keyword, divorce lawyer Philadelphia, because it has way more searches. So that's what I'm going to go for now. And then I want to see who's ranking number one. So I see this Audit Law PLLC. And I will be looking at these guys here and we'll be dissecting like why are they ranking number one. These guys ranking here is going to give them a lot of cases, and the potential value or how much money they're making from ranking number one is huge. Like this could be the 500K a month number in terms of revenue. This is realistic because Philadelphia is such a huge city and also has a lot of high net worth individuals. So yeah, definitely interesting and super lucrative to rank here. So what I've done here is I've written down Philadelphia as the city and divorce lawyer Bade. This is their website name. So now I'm going to look at the most important SEO ranking factors for these guys. So the first thing is review count. How many reviews do they have? And here I see they have 256 reviews, which is a little less than the second position here, but it's still pretty good. So I will score it a 4 out of 5. And if you don't remember, the scoring goes from 1 to 5, with 5 being the best possible score you can get on this review scales here. And the reason is that if your review count is in the thousands, then you would get a 5. But in this instance, it's in the hundreds. That's why it's a 4. Because it's really hard to beat somebody that has thousands of reviews. And this is possible if you've seen some other videos, like I've shown you some companies, some law firms that have thousands of reviews. That would be really hard to compete with. But in this instance, it's not that hard to compete. So the second thing is the average review score. So their score is a 4.8. This is pretty close to perfect. That's why I'm giving them a 5. And yeah, anything above 4.5, 4.6 is look at a 5 here. Because people usually want to go for the highest review unless it's 5.0, because then they might become suspicious that maybe the company has purchased the reviews, because nobody is perfect. People know that. So yeah, it doesn't make sense for you to have 5.0 and like 500 reviews. This seems bought, this seems manipulated, but it's natural to have some negative reviews and to have your score lower than 5.0. So all of these scores here are pretty perfect. But in this instance, like, because Cooper here has a 4.5, which is also great, but because these two have 4.8s, people usually tend to prefer these ones here. And also they have more reviews. So that's a huge thing. Getting reviews is a huge factor. And we usually help our clients to set up strategies how to generate more consistent reviews and more consistent high reviews as well, so that you would have much higher odds of ranking. And even if you're doing everything right, like you are able to rank here, but your score is 3.5, people are not going to click on your result because they just don't trust the business that has a score of 3.5. So yeah. Now moving on to the next thing, how good is their Google Business Profile optimization, or how well is their business profile optimized? And in order to see that, I just come to the right-hand side, I open up your profile. And the main things I want to see here is one hack that I've discussed before is that if you have your main business niche in your Google Business Profile name, so these are Google Business Profile names here, Audit Law, PLLC, Pirelli, Previtera, and Cooper Family Law. These are Google Business Profile names, which is the same thing that you can see on top here. So if you have your main keyword in the name, this is a huge ranking factor and a huge competitive advantage. Cooper has family law in it, so they do have an advantage, but they are lacking on other factors. That's why they're ranking in the 3rd position. There are probably other businesses that are doing better than Cooper in terms of business profile optimization, but because Cooper has family law in their business name, they are ranking in the 3rd position. This is allowing them to rank so well in Philadelphia. So this is a hack that you can pretty much make a note of. And if you are able, I would highly recommend you to submit a doing business as and include the family law or divorce lawyer or your main business niche in your Google Business Profile name. But overall, if you look at the profile, they do have the right category, divorce lawyer. So this is well done. You always need to include, or if you're filling up your Google Business Profile, by the way, a lot of businesses don't even have a filled out Google Business Profile. So this is one of the first things that you should do if you haven't done it yet. And then you also need to list your services like they have done here as well. Child custody lawyers, child support lawyers. You need to add as many images as possible from the exterior of your office, from the interior. Also images of your staff. This is really important because this is going to build a lot of trust. Here they only have 2 images. So this is pretty poorly done. They should have more, but it's not a huge ranking factor. It's just a trust factor. So people want to see this. And yeah, they don't have as many as they should. I usually recommend to have at least 10 to 20 images here, if not more. The more, the better, because it just builds trust with the people. And do not add stock images here. That's a huge waste of opportunity because people are going to, again, not trust you because people can usually identify stock images pretty easy. I'm sure you can. So you can't assume other people cannot. But yeah, like they have listed their services, they have their main address here, they have their phone number, they've gathered a good amount of reviews. One thing they are lacking here is that they don't have reviews on Yelp. So again, this is a missed opportunity. I highly encourage you to not only collect reviews on Google, but also on Yelp and also on all other platforms that are relevant to you. Because this is not just important for Google, but also for AI search engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and the others as well, because AI search engines, they are becoming more and more important. Although for local search, Google is still the major dominant player, so you don't really need to worry about AI yet, but the game is changing. So if you are able to, I would encourage you to also try and gather some reviews on Yelp as well. And another thing here is that do they respond to their reviews? If we look at the reviews here, we see that there are some reactions, but they do not actively respond. There are no responses, no replies. So this is a missed opportunity as well, a 3 in this instance, just because they have so few images, their name isn't optimized, and they are not responding to their reviews and their descriptions, and they're not posting. We don't see any posts here. They do have some description here, but it's not optimized. It doesn't have the main keywords here. And okay, they do post. 4 days ago, they've written a lot of, okay, yeah, and they only have one profile. So yeah, I would be really torn between 3 and 4, but yeah, I'm going to give them a 3 this time because Philadelphia is such a huge city, and I would expect them to do more to rank number 1 here. So they're not doing a great job here. Now, about citations. This is just how often their business is mentioned across different business directories. And one way to look at it is just to search for their address and see, or search for their business name and see how often do they come up. So you can just copy their business name and see in the tools here, 270 results. I'm going to double check this with their address as well, how often their address is mentioned. Okay, so this is mentioned many more times. So probably they are, yeah, this is their exact address. So this is giving a good indication of how many citations they have. So they have over 1,000 citations. This is something they can simply purchase through different vendors. Just getting your business mentioned or listed on different business directories. So this would be including for a law firm, you would need to purchase citations or add your business profile to all the law aggregators, all the legal directories, and then also to all the business directories that you can. The more you have, the better, because this is still a significant ranking factor for Google. So if they have over 1,000, I would already give them a 5 out of 5 in this regard, because it's not that, it's easy to do, but most businesses don't really bother to do it. That's why they're not ranking at all in the map, and these guys here are. Yeah. Another thing is their titles and URLs. So this is the on-page thing. How well is their page optimized? And the way to check that is if I just go to their homepage, Divorce Bade. So the first thing that is going for them is that they are using their homepage to rank for their most important location and for their most important niche. And they are only focused on divorce, family law, divorce law, which gives them a huge ranking advantage. And what I mean here is that they have divorce lawyer in their URL. So this is a huge unfair advantage. And then they have their business name or brand name here at the end. So basically they have an exact match domain, which means that they have a divorce lawyer here. So this is a huge ranking advantage. And what I wanted to do here, I wanted to add the main points, because I always save the main points, the main differentiating factor for different businesses, so that like when we're working on different campaigns, we know what's working, what are the best practices. For in this case, EMD. EMD stands for exact match domain. They have an exact match domain. This is giving them a huge ranking advantage in Philadelphia. This is really hard to do if you already have an established business, but this is just something to be mindful of, because there are over 200 ranking factors that are known in order to rank in Google, and having an exact match domain is a huge competitive advantage. But even if you don't have it, you can work on the other ranking factors and beat the current top rankers by having better factors, by having more strength on the other factors. So yeah, now if I'm looking at how well their titles and how well their page is put together in terms of SEO, do they have the keyword divorce and Philadelphia mentioned here? So I'm going to use a plugin called Detail SEO extension. So their meta title has lawyers for divorce Philadelphia. So their meta title has everything that needed included. What is everything needed is their business name or their location and their niche. So they have both included here. Divorce lawyer also in the meta description, but they don't have Philadelphia in the meta description. Okay. But as I said, like they have divorce lawyer Bade in their URL. So this is a huge advantage for them. Now, if we look at their main titles, H1 is the most important title. They don't even have an H1. So this is a missed opportunity as well. And let's see, divorce here in H2. So I'm looking at, do they have the important keywords in their titles? And they have Philadelphia here in H5, divorce, divorce, divorce. Yeah. So it's not that well done, but because they have it in their domain name, and it's also in their logo and in a lot of their titles. Yeah, simply it's an unfair advantage, but because they have it in their URL, it's really hard to beat them in that sense. So that's why they get a 5 out of 5. But their optimization for the on page is not that well done, which is also something we see from Surfer SEO, which is a tool that we use. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the correlational SEO analysis about all the factors, all the on-page factors. So how many times they're mentioning or talking about different keywords that Google wants to see for someone to rank that page number one for that particular niche. So divorce lawyer Philadelphia is the keyword, and this is their homepage. And this tool gives an assessment of how well their page is optimized. And their score is a 23 out of 100. Their competitors have much higher scores. In terms of on-page optimization helps you rank organically, but it doesn't really do much for, let me show you. So if I search for divorce Philadelphia, like we did before, they are number one here in the map pack. And this has a lot to do with all the map pack ranking factors, but they aren't ranking well organically, which is the results here. 70% of people usually click here, 30% still go here to look for other results, like these organic results. These are called map pack results, and these are called organic results. And they are not listed here because their page is done so poorly. Like they are not using the right keywords as often as needed, whereas their competitors are. It doesn't even give them a ranking here. But yeah, that's why they're not on the first page of Google for the organic results. And in this tool here, what we usually do with this tool is it gives us common terms to use, like you need to use family law because it's a synonym to divorce law or like a close variation of it. They haven't used it at all, whereas the competitors have used it, and Google knows that this is highly relevant keyword, highly relevant search term. So Google wants to see a site ranking number one using it. Again, it's just one of the factors, but it's a huge factor. Lucky for these guys, like they are ranking so well in the map pack. But if they wanted to, ideally, if you want to rank for this term, if you want to completely dominate your local search in Philadelphia, you don't want to only dominate the map pack. You also want to be shown up here because it's that much extra work. And that the patent law here, they haven't done the extra work. Yeah, it's definitely a missed opportunity, and that's why I'm giving their on page a 2 out of 5. One more thing to note about titles and URLs is, and this is really important, I have also mentioned this before in my other videos, it's a huge thing, that if you are servicing one niche and one location, like they are servicing family law, which is their main niche, because many law firms, they are servicing a lot of different niches, like personal injury, family law, immigration law, and all of these different niches. So then basically you are a generalist law firm, and this is fine. This makes a lot of sense. A lot of businesses are like that. You can use your homepage to rank for law firm in Philadelphia, for example. But then it's so much harder for you to rank because you have so much more competition because there are so many more generalist law firms. If you are a niche law firm only offering family law services, then you really need to optimize or use your entire homepage to rank for that particular niche. So the more niche you go with service area and your location, the easier it is for you to rank, because if you use your homepage to rank for your most important location and your most important niche or your main niche, you will have a advantage over others who are generalist law firms. And the point here is that Padea Law, for example, like these guys, because they only offer their services in Philadelphia and their main service is family law or divorce law, they're using their homepage to rank. Now, if you are like another law firm, so let's say you are like, my name is Gert, so let's do Gert's Law Firm. So let's say I'm a Philadelphia law firm and I offer different kinds of services. So I have family law, I have immigration law, I have all these kinds of different things. So what I need to do is I can't just optimize the homepage for family law because I also offer a lot of different services. So I would need to put family law or divorce lawyer keywords into a URL here. So divorce lawyer, maybe even offering the services in multiple locations, which would make it even worse in terms of ranking. It's still possible, and we do it for our clients. It's still definitely doable, but it's just making the work a little bit more expensive. You need more resources to rank. So let's say my law firm has multiple locations. I'm in Chicago, I'm in Philadelphia, I'm in Seattle, and I offer multiple different services. So then I need to have locations submenu here for Philadelphia and what services I offer in Philadelphia. So divorce lawyer services or divorce law services. And this is making it much harder if I'm using this landing page to rank and I'm competing it with these guys here and they are using their homepage. It's making it much harder for me to rank because a website's homepage is always the strongest page. And it's much harder to compete with your URL like this Philadelphia family lawyer because you need links going directly to this page. Whereas these guys here, because they're using their homepage, they already have a lot of links going to their homepage anyways. Like whenever they made a donation or whenever their business is listed in a citation or in a legal directory, wherever they have their partners, or even maybe their web designer has listed their website as a case study, they would get a link to the homepage. That's why the homepage is almost always the strongest page. And if you use your homepage to rank, you're going to have a massive advantage. So the main point, they have an exact match domain and they are using their homepage to rank most important location plus niche and also service as well. So yeah, these are two really strong things going for them. Domain strength, the way I assess domain strength is just with Ahrefs to see what their DAR stands for domain rating. And we see here that, okay, I think the Ahrefs is wrong in that regard. I don't think their DR is actually a 0. Let's double check here. This doesn't make sense. Okay, so maybe Ahrefs is having some issues right now. Target page with enforced status. Yeah, this is weird. Yeah, I'm seeing like really low numbers here. I think there's an issue right now with Ahrefs, not reporting data correctly. Luckily, this happens quite rarely. But yeah, like I don't really see numbers. And even if this is true, like the TR stands for domain rating. And the higher your domain rating, the easier it is for you to rank. So if we look at divorce lawyer here, and if you look at the top rankers here, like DR stands for overall domain rating or domain strength of a website. And the higher your DR, the easier it is for you to rank, not just with your homepage and with your main services, but also with your blog articles. So the higher your DR, the more blog articles you produce, the easier it is for you to outrank your competitors. And if your DR is really high, like we've gotten the DRs of our clients over 60 and above, which is quite hard to do. In order to get your DR to the 60s, you need at least a few $100,000 invested into backlink building. So backlinks are just links or mentions from other websites talking about your site and then linking to you. Yeah, like usually for local businesses, the DRs are in the 20s or even 10s or 30s, as you can see here. Like in the local back is one thing, but the map back with organic results, they're also really heavily reliant on the DRs of the sites. So you see here the top rankers have their DRs at 20s and 10s. Cooper Law Firm has a DR of 30. Cordell has it 47. Cordell has multiple locations, like I mentioned before. Cordell offices, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. So yeah, they're making it harder for them. Although their DR is really high. And you see here, like their DR is a 47, but somebody that has a DR 21 is beating them. And that's simply because they don't have that many locations. They only have one location, Finley Family Lawyer. So obviously they're in Philadelphia and they're offering family law services. And with their divorce page, they are ranking 1 here organically. Again, this is just another example of how to make an optimized page or how to use your strength, your domain strength, your main niche as a strength. And these guys here are doing that. So in terms of TR, I think these numbers are off here for, let's see here. Let's do a quick search by, do we find them somewhere? No, they're not even ranking in the 100 here for right now. So yeah, there's definitely something going well with their site, but it's still everything they're doing right now. Like, I'm not sure if this is, I'm going to just give them an average score here in terms of backlinks as well, because I don't really know. I think there's a problem with Ahrefs right now showing numbers about their site. So about domain strength and backlinks. So I'm just quickly going to go over what I'm usually looking at here is how high is their DR? So how high of domain authority do they have? And anything in the 20s or 30s would get a 3 in my score rating here, because usually most local businesses have these scores in the lower ends. If your score is already, or DR is in the 40s or 50s, then it becomes quite hard to beat you, especially if you're a niche law firm, like a family law niche or family law firm. And this is going to give you a huge moat. So let's say you are in Philadelphia, you are offering family law services, and you're using your homepage to rank. And then if you're able to get your DR, your domain rating to the 40s, it's going to be super difficult to compete with you. It's going to be really hard for your competitors to beat you. Yeah, that's a really good strategy if you're doing SEO and if you want to rank number 1 for years. Then having a high DR is going to give you a huge advantage. And another thing that's going to give you an advantage is topical authority, which is the last thing here. And this is also something that we've seen that works really well for a lot of different businesses that are ranking number 1 is most of them have a really high topical authority score. And what this simply means is that, like, how many blog articles do you have that talk about different services that you offer? And the way to check this is that, again, these guys here, I don't really see their information. I don't see that much about them on Ahrefs right now, but do they have a blog section? Okay, they don't have a blog section. They are linking to their Google business profile from their articles here. So there's something weird going on with their site, but they are still able to rank number 1. So they might be using some dubious strategies here as well. But anyway, the point with the topical authority is that you want to cover different questions that your target audience are asking. So if you are running a family law firm, you already know the common questions that your audience is asking you, that your users are asking you, just the main things that keep popping up. And then if you just provide answers to those questions in your blog articles and then link from those blog articles to your main service pages, this is going to build a lot of topical authority for you, and Google is also going to see that. The more of a Wikipedia of your niche you are, the easier it is for you to rank. So topical authority is a complicated topic, but if you just consider it as like being the Wikipedia of your niche, just answering every possible question that your target audience has. Like, you don't need to, if somebody asks, how much does a divorce lawyer cost in Philadelphia, which is probably a huge question, or a question that gets asked a lot. And if you need 300 to 400 words to answer it, just write a 300 to 400 word article. You don't need to write 2,000 words about this, and add it as a separate article on your blog. And then also link back to your main Philadelphia divorce law services page, which is then also boosting that page as well. going to build a lot of topical authority. And if you just keep on doing those blog articles, if you keep posting about it, you're going to have a ranking advantage over others. Yeah, but again, with these guys here, I have no idea because I don't really see into their site. One way you can go about it is if I just do a site colon search, but I can only then again see their homepage. So there's something up, like they can't be like just a single page site. They are hiding something, or there's something happening with their site. It just doesn't make sense. So this isn't like this isn't a valuation here, just because we are missing a lot of information here because the tool is not reporting on this information and we are unable to see the results. So it doesn't make sense that these guys are ranked number one. Although maybe it just might be that they are only focusing on these factors here that is allowing them to rank number one for the Google Map Pack. And they are only doing that, and maybe also some black hat strategies as well. But I don't know about that. I would need to dig a little deeper. Yeah, but this might be an example of you don't need to do all the fancy stuff to rank in the map pack if the competition is on the weaker side. So in Philadelphia, again, like it seems that competitors aren't doing that much. Like family law, like I would say it's just, if you just be for law firm, like, yeah, 3,000. Some company here in Philadelphia has 3,000 reviews on Google. They're just a generalist law firm. So yeah, it's because if it's just a generalist law firm, it's usually harder to rank. But right now, in terms of Philadelphia, about this law firm here, it seems that it can be that it's just doing the main things, having an exact match domain and only focusing on the Google Business Profile items like review counts, average review score, and citations, plus having an exact match domain is enough to rank number one, unless they're doing something tricky here. If I'm going to find out what they're doing, or if you have any ideas, if you're doing your own research, that would be really interesting to see. Like this can be an interesting thing for us to analyze further, like with our team, to see what's going on here, because this is going to probably take a few hours to look into it. Like how are they able to rank so well with just these factors here? But it might just be that the competition isn't that difficult, so you don't really need to have all of these factors optimized, because as you can see here as well, like some other cities, like this one here, what's this city? Number 8, Jacksonville, Florida. Again, it's a big city, and they don't have topical authority or a lot of backlinks either, although the domain was quite strong. Then also number 11, Chicago. They didn't have a lot of topical authority either, or backlinks or domain strength, or on-page factors. They're just relying, their map pack rankings are only relying on their Google Business Profile factors here. So yeah, it might just be the case. So you don't need to do everything, but it's still, they are probably like, if they don't have a lot of blog articles and they don't have good domain strength, they're just leaving a lot of money on the table. Yeah, that's it for this video. It was interesting to see this business. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write down the information that I saw here. And I'm also going to do some further analysis into this because they're ranking much better than I would assume based on what they're doing. And about the main factors that are allowing them to win so well is just they have an exact match domain. Once again, they're using their homepage to rank for the most important niche and the most important location. And they have high scores across the main Google Business Profile ranking factors. No blogs, 4 on-page session. Yeah, so that's interesting to see for Philadelphia. But then again, like if that's the case, then if you were to compete in Philadelphia, and if you are doing a better job on across these factors, or at least a similar job, and you also have some blog arts, you have better on-page optimization, you have more backlink, then odds are that you will be able to beat these guys here. If you want me and my team to analyze your business, your specific location, and send over a 10 to 15 minute video on it, or some of the low-hanging fruit opportunities in your specific niche, then just go to the first link in the description. I hope you found it valuable. I'm going to continue doing these videos because it's really interesting to see what's working and how competitive are different cities. And maybe I am going to cover your niche next. So if you want me to cover your city next, just leave a comment below and I will. Thank you. Have a great day.